Hello and welcome back, Unreal Freaks. I'm Michael, and this is the introduction of the El Diablo Hack and Slash tutorial Season 2. In Season 1 we created basic behavior for our player pawn or our player character, and we introduced things like weapon swings, rotation, movement, auto movement, and such things. In this season we will focus on things like AI, enemies, effects, particles, hit detection, damage and HP functions, and so on. But first off, this should be more of an introduction video, and I will introduce something, or I will talk about something which is very important when you actually program games. So first off, you should open your project folder, your El Diablo project folder you created in our project in the previous tutorial. And when you have it open, we will go directly into the El Diablo car blueprint. Now, as you might see, this is the problem here. We have a lot of different blueprint nodes and they are all over the place. This can be pretty messy if we get a lot of stuff in here. So the Unreal guys actually put in a nice commenting feature. So this is basically just a way of commenting out or commenting the things you have selected with a text box. For example, I have my mouse X here, which just retrieves the values of my mouse location on the X axis. Then we have a gate which controls if we execute a function or not. Our middle mouse button will be used as a gatekeeper, so when we press the middle mouse button, it will open the gate, and when we release the middle mouse button, we will close the gate. So up here, this is basically just the rotation function we created in the previous tutorials, and we can select them, or rather left mouse click and then hold the left mouse button and drag a rectangle over the nodes we want to encompass with our commenting box. Then we just release the left mouse button, press C, and then we can actually type something in there. So we could input something like rotates our camera based on the mouse X location. Then we can also go into this comment color here, and we can color code our comment box, which can be very important in terms of visual indication. So it's easier to distinguish between different comment boxes. So for example, I can use a more reddish color, and then we basically have our comment box and we know what this stuff does. Now, if I would write more into this, like age, at a point we will not be able to see it anymore. So if you run into this problem, you can either make the comment box bigger, or you can just select the comment box, go up here under the comment text, go into the rotates our camera into this text here, and just go at the end of the text. We can write more stuff in here, and it will basically be updated, but it doesn't cut out like here in the comment box. If if the box is not big enough. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to show you. The second thing I wanted to show you is, even if we use the commenting feature of all these nodes, we will still have a messy blueprint code, because we will have all these color-coded comment boxes everywhere, and it's difficult to manage it if you have maybe 20 or 50 of them lying around. So in order to make it easier, we can create something called subgraphs, or basically event graphs which encompass certain nodes. To create such subgraph, you select the function, or rather the nodes you want to be affected in it. Then right click on a node, not in an empty space yet, just on a node, right click, and then select collapse nodes. This will create a collapsed graph, and we will call it rotate camera subgraph. We compile it and save it. Now we have all our nodes or all our function into this little subgraph. We can enter it by double clicking on it, or if you want to get there from a different location, go to the left panel here, go under graphs, then open up the event graph, and then you have your subgraph listed here. So that way you can double click into the newly created subgraph, or you can get back to the event graph again. So it's a pretty neat feature to use these kind of things. One tip, if you use a subgraph, you should just use it when you are done with a function. So if a function is finished, you can create a subgraph. Because if you want to modify it, you will always need to jump in and out of this thing, and it can be a little bit tedious to do so. So yeah. The next thing is I wanted to mention is I actually closed my subgraph and my event graph. To get back to it, you just go to the left panel and double click on rotate camera subgraph or on the event graph. That way you will get we will get our graphs back. Okay, so that's what I wanted to tell you about. I will not use it throughout the tutorial because I want to teach you how to create a hack and slash game. But if you want to comment things and to have it more organized and don't have a nightmare finding certain things, this will help you very much. So it's just a tool for you to use if you want to have an easier time organizing things. Okay, this was the introduction for the tutorial series for Season 2. And I want to tell you a little bit about what Season 2 will be about. Like I said, we will go into things like AI, hit detection, damage and HP functions, effect particles and so on. But I will also introduce some game designing aspects. I looked on my previous tutorials and I saw some things like I need to go a little bit more in depth with game design, because game design is an important part when we create gameplay mechanics and how they behave. So I will be explaining a little bit more what I do and why I do certain things. The next change will be an optional tutorial, or basically an optional videos, which is not necessary. It's not necessary to watch it, but it might have a lot of tips and tricks in it which can help you. because things like texture density, texture resolution density. Do I use big textures? Do I use low resolution textures? When do I use tiling? What about memory usage? Polygon usage? What is the optimal polygon count? Is it important? How many objects can my CPU actually create and do? And what is the optimum thing? Asynchronous timing, and so on. So a lot of technical aspects where you can learn something from my experience, because I made a lot of tests, and it would just go to waste if I wouldn't tell you about it. Yeah, I hope it was a good start on the season, and I wish you a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, whatever you prefer. And I hopefully see you next time.